The sun burned hot overhead. Traders shouted their wares. Vehicles honked impatiently. The air smelled of roasted corn and diesel fumes. Then suddenly, screaming pierced through the noise. A black vehicle screeched to a violent halt. 4 armed men leaped out, their faces twisted with cruelty. They grabbed a small girl wearing a blue school uniform. She could not have been older than 10 summers. Her name was Adanna, only daughter of Chief Okonkwo, the wealthiest man in the entire region who owned banks, factories, and vast lands. "Mama. Somebody please help me," the child's voice tore through the crowd. But people scattered like leaves before a storm. Market women abandoned their goods. Men ducked behind stalls. Children ran crying to their mothers. No one dared challenge armed criminals in broad daylight. Fear ruled that moment. Except for one person. A barefoot young woman carrying a calabash of palm wine on her head stopped directly in the road. She wore a faded wrapper, the kind village women use for farm work. Red dust covered her feet and ankles. Her name was Nena, and she came from a distant village where life was simple and hard. She set down her calabash with careful deliberation, her movements calm as still water. "Leave the child alone," she said quietly, but her voice carried authority that made even the kidnappers pause. The armed men looked at her and burst into mocking laughter. The leader, a scarred man with dead eyes, raised his machete high above his head. Sunlight glinted off the blade. "Foolish village girl," he sneered. "You want to die today?" But before the weapon could descend, Nena moved with shocking speed, faster than a striking snake, more precise than a master craftsman. Her bare hand shot up and caught the machete blade in midair. She twisted her wrist with practiced skill. The man screamed in agony. His weapon clattered uselessly to the ground, ringing against the stones. The other 3 attackers rushed her simultaneously, confident in their numbers and strength. Nena did not run. She did not even step backward. She moved like water flowing around obstacles, fluid, graceful, unstoppable. One man swung a heavy club at her head. She ducked smoothly beneath it and struck his knee with her foot. Bone cracked. He crumpled to the ground, howling. Another lunged forward with a knife aimed at her chest. She caught his wrist mid-thrust, twisted it backward with terrible force until bones snapped like dry twigs. The watching crowd gasped in collective amazement. Who was this village girl who fought like an ancient warrior? The last kidnapper tried desperately to grab Adanna again, hoping to use the child as a shield. Nena swept his legs with a barefoot kick that sent him tumbling into the dirty roadside gutter where he belonged. In less than 2 minutes, counted by the market clock tower, all 4 dangerous criminals lay groaning and defeated on the ground. Nena stood over them, breathing steadily, not even sweating despite the brutal heat. Her wrapper had not even come loose. She looked as calm as someone who had just finished washing dishes, not defeating 4 armed men. Little Adanna broke free from where she had frozen in terror. She ran to Nena and wrapped small trembling arms around her waist, burying her face in the faded cloth. "You saved me. You saved me," the child sobbed with relief and something deeper. "You are my mother now. I know you are." Nena froze, confusion flooding her face. "Child, I am not your mother. I do not even know you. But you are." Adanna insisted with strange certainty, looking up with tear-filled eyes that seemed to see beyond the physical world. "The spirits told me in my dreams. They showed me your face. You are my real mama." Before Nena could respond or make sense of these mysterious words, a convoy of expensive black vehicles roared up to the scene, tires squealing. Armed security men in dark suits jumped out, weapons ready. Behind them stepped a man who commanded immediate respect. Chief Okonkwo was tall and powerfully built, dressed in costly traditional robes that shimmered like captured moonlight. His presence made people automatically step back and bow their heads. Politicians feared him. Business rivals envied him. But when his eyes found his daughter clinging to a village girl, his strong voice shook with naked emotion. "Adanna, my precious daughter." The child turned toward her father but did not release Nena. "Papa, Papa, this woman saved me from the bad men. She is my mother. I know she is." The growing crowd murmured and whispered among themselves. Everyone present heard the child's declaration clearly. "In our culture, my children, words spoken publicly before witnesses carry weight like iron chains. They cannot be easily broken or dismissed." Chief Okonkwo studied Nena with sharp, calculating eyes that missed nothing. He saw her torn wrapper that had been mended many times. He noted her calloused hands that spoke of hard labor. He observed her fearless eyes that did not drop before his wealth and power. Most village girls would have trembled and looked away. This one met his gaze directly. "What is your name, young woman?" he asked with formal respect. "I am called Nena, sir," she replied, bowing her head appropriately but not cowering. "You saved my only child from terrible danger. Name your reward. I will give you anything within my power." Nena bowed more deeply, honoring his generosity. "I need no reward, chief. I only did what any decent person should do when evil appears. The reward is seeing the child safe." But Chief Okonkwo was not a man who enjoyed owing debts to anyone, especially life debts. I insist absolutely. 1 billion in currency. It is yours. My driver will take you to the bank immediately. The crowd gasped audibly. 1 billion. Such money could transform entire communities, build schools and hospitals, feed thousands. Nena shook her head firmly. I cannot accept such money, Chief. It would not be proper. But if you truly wish to honor what I did, then build a school in my village. Our children still learn under trees when it rains. They have no books, no proper teachers. The elders present nodded with deep approval, murmuring praise. This young woman possessed true wisdom beyond her years. She valued education for her community over personal wealth. Such character was increasingly rare. But not everyone in the gathering felt pleased. Chief Okonkwo's younger brother Emeka stood near the vehicles, watching everything with narrowed, suspicious eyes. He whispered loudly enough for others to hear, "Look at this village rat. Already using my brother's child to climb into our wealthy family. Very clever indeed." His wife Adiz stood beside him, her expensive clothes and makeup making her look even more sour. She sneered with undisguised contempt. She probably planned the whole kidnapping herself. These desperate poor people are very cunning and manipulative. They will do anything for money. Young Adanna heard their cruel words. Her small face twisted with righteous anger. She pointed an accusing finger at her uncle. "Uncle Emeka, you are wicked and jealous. This woman saved my life. Where were you when the bad men grabbed me? Hiding in your comfortable car." Chief Okonkwo raised one hand commandingly. Silence fell immediately. His eyes had gone sharp and cold. "Nena," he said formally, "my daughter has declared you her mother before all these witnesses. In our ancient tradition, such words spoken publicly cannot be easily undone or dismissed. They carry spiritual weight." He paused, choosing his next words carefully. "I ask you formally and respectfully, will you come to my house? Will you accept marriage to me and become Adanna's mother in truth as well as spirit?" The entire crowd held its collective breath. Time seemed to stop. Nena felt her heart pound painfully against her ribs. She remembered her own secret grief, a baby girl lost 5 years ago. The midwife had told her the child was stillborn, never breathed, never cried. Nena had never even seen her daughter's face. That wound had never properly healed, bleeding silently inside her heart every day since. Looking now at Adanna's desperate, hopeful eyes, something stirred deep in Nena's chest. A recognition she could not explain, as if her soul knew something her mind did not. But she answered carefully, protecting herself from hope's cruelty. "Chief, I am deeply grateful for your honor. But I am a simple village girl who works in the fields. I do not belong in your sophisticated world of wealth and power." Chief Okonkwo nodded slowly. He was a patient hunter who understood that the best prey cannot be rushed. "Then come as my daughter's guardian and protector. Live in my house. Keep her safe. I will pay you very well for your service." Before Nena could form a response, Adanna grabbed her hand with surprising strength. "Please, Auntie Nena. Please come. I have terrible dreams. Someone evil wants to hurt me badly. Only you can keep me safe. The spirits told me so." Nena looked down into those young, desperate eyes and felt her resistance crumble like sand. How could anyone refuse such a plea? "I will stay for a short while," she agreed reluctantly. "Only until the child feels safe again. Then I must return to my village and my life." Chief Okonkwo smiled with satisfaction. It was settled at least for now. But Emeka and Adiz exchanged dark, knowing looks filled with malice and calculation. This village girl represented a serious threat to their carefully planned future. If Chief Okonkwo truly married her, if she bore him sons to inherit his vast wealth, Emeka and his wife would lose everything they had been scheming to obtain for years. That same evening, Nena was brought to the chief's mansion. She had never imagined such wealth existed. The house was bigger than her entire village. Marble floors reflected light like water. Golden railings lined the staircases. Servants in uniforms moved quietly through endless rooms. The air smelled of expensive perfume and polish. The chief's extended relatives had gathered in the enormous sitting room. Aunties wearing lace more costly than a year's harvest, uncles in tailored safari suits, cousins dripping with gold jewelry. They all stared at Nena's torn wrapper and dusty feet with barely concealed disgust. "This is the great savior?" One auntie sniffed dramatically, waving a perfumed handkerchief. "She looks like she just climbed out of a dirty bush somewhere." Another uncle laughed with deliberate cruelty. "Chief, surely you cannot be serious about this arrangement. This girl? Living in our family compound? What will important people say about us?" But Chief Okonkwo's voice cut through their mockery like a sharp blade through soft wood. "This young woman defeated 4 dangerous armed men with her bare hands while you were all cowering comfortably in your air-conditioned rooms. She risked her life for my daughter when none of you were there. Show proper respect immediately." The room fell into shocked silence. No one dared argue further. Adanna took Nena's calloused hand gently and led her upstairs to a guest room that was bigger and more luxurious than any house Nena had ever seen in her life. The bed alone could sleep 5 people. Crystal lamps hung from the ceiling. Thick carpets covered the floor. "You will sleep here, Auntie Nena," the child said happily. "Tomorrow I will show you everything. The gardens, the library, the kitchen, everything." That night, lying on a bed softer than clouds for the first time in her life, Nena could not sleep. Her mind spun with questions that had no answers. Why had Adanna called her mother with such absolute certainty? Why did holding the child feel strangely familiar, like remembering a forgotten dream or hearing a song from childhood? Meanwhile, far below in a dark corner of the house, Emeka and Adiz plotted quietly, their heads close together like conspirators. "We must get rid of this dangerous village rat before she sinks her claws any deeper into my brother's wealth and power," Emeka hissed with venom. "Every day she stays here, she becomes harder to remove." "But how?" Adiz whispered nervously, glancing around to ensure no servants overheard. "The chief is watching her very closely now. He is protective." Emeka smiled coldly, his eyes glinting with cruel intelligence. "There are always ways to remove obstacles, my wife. We simply need patience and the right opportunity. Both will come soon enough." 3 days passed slowly. Nena moved carefully through the mansion, learning its rhythms and rules. She helped Adanna with homework, told her traditional village stories that made the child laugh, taught her old proverbs full of wisdom. The household servants loved Nena because she treated them with kindness and respect, unlike the chief's relatives who spoke to them like animals. But those same relatives grew more jealous and resentful with each passing day, watching Nena's growing influence over both child and chief. Then came the incident that changed everything. It was Sunday afternoon, hot and lazy. The extended family had gathered for the traditional big lunch. The massive dining table groaned under the weight of jollof rice, fried chicken, mwamwa, plantains, and countless other dishes prepared by the kitchen staff. A family friend named Mrs. Judith arrived unexpectedly, carrying a decorative tray piled with beautiful pastries from her expensive bakery. She was an elegant woman who had known the family for many years. "I baked these specially for little Adanna," she announced sweetly, her smile bright and false. "Chocolate and strawberry, your absolute favorites, my dear child." Adanna's eyes lit up with childish delight. She loved sweets more than anything. But Nena felt a strange, uncomfortable unease stirring in her spirit, a warning she had learned to trust. Her father, a great herbalist before his death, had taught her to listen carefully to her instincts. They spoke truth when the mind was confused. "Adanna, wait please," she said gently, placing a restraining hand on the child's arm. "Let someone else taste the pastries first, just to be safe." Mrs. Judith's sweet smile tightened noticeably at the edges. "Are you suggesting my pastries are poisoned? How incredibly insulting. I have been bringing treats to this family for 20 years. Adiz immediately jumped in, her voice sharp with accusation. "This rude village girl has no manners at all. Mrs. Judith is our trusted family friend for decades. You should apologize immediately for such disrespect." Chief Okonkwo frowned, torn between trust and caution. "Nena, that accusation was quite harsh. Mrs. Judith has never given us reason to doubt her." Nena bowed her head submissively. "Forgive me, Chief. I meant no offense to anyone. My instincts spoke before my mind." But Adanna, trusting her father's old friend completely, had already grabbed the largest pastry and taken an enormous bite. Chocolate smeared her lips. She smiled happily. Then, within mere seconds, her small face turned deathly pale. The half-eaten pastry dropped from her hand. Her body began trembling violently as if gripped by invisible hands. "Papa, I feel very strange," she whispered, her voice weak and confused. "My stomach, it burns." Then her eyes rolled back and she collapsed sideways off her chair, hitting the floor with a sickening thud. "Adanna!" Chief Okonkwo's roar shook the entire room. Chaos erupted instantly. People screamed and shouted. Someone knocked over glasses. Another person frantically called for the family doctor on their phone. But Emeka pointed a shaking, accusing finger directly at Nena, his voice rising in false outrage. You did this terrible thing. You poisoned my innocent niece so you could pretend to save her again. Just like you probably staged the kidnapping in the first place." Adiz shrieked dramatically. "She wants to use the child to trap the chief permanently. Evil woman. Village witch." The accusations flew like stones in a riot, vicious and aimed to wound. Chief Okonkwo looked at Nena with terrible confusion and growing suspicion warring in his eyes. Could this woman he had brought into his home be a clever predator? But Nena ignored all the shouting voices completely. She knelt calmly beside Adanna's unconscious body, felt the child's pulse with expert fingers, checked her eyes by pulling back the lids, smelled her breath carefully. "This is Uziza poison mixed with concentrated bitter leaf extract," she announced with absolute certainty, her voice cutting through the chaos. "It is common in traditional medicine but deadly in high doses. She has perhaps 20 minutes before the poison reaches her heart and stops it permanently." Mrs. Judith gasped dramatically, her hand flying to her throat. How could you possibly know such specific details?" Nena looked up sharply, her eyes hard as stones. Because my father was the greatest herbalist in 3 regions before he died. He taught me everything, every poison, every cure, every symptom. I know this poison signature intimately. Chief Okonkwo made a swift decision. Someone call the hospital immediately. Get the emergency ambulance here now. There is no time for that, Nena said firmly with complete authority. The hospital doctors will not recognize this traditional poison quickly enough. By the time they run tests and consult books and make diagnoses, she will already be dead. The poison works very fast. Emeka grabbed Nena's arm roughly, his fingers digging in. You lying witch. You just want to finish killing her while pretending to help. Guards, grab her. Nena shook him off with surprising, effortless strength that sent him stumbling backward. For a moment, everyone saw the warrior beneath the village girl's humble exterior. I can save her life, Nena said clearly, looking directly at Chief Okonkwo. But you must trust me completely right now. This very moment. There is no time for doubt or discussion. Chief Okonkwo stared at his daughter's pale, dying face, her increasingly shallow breathing that sounded like death approaching. He had 2 impossible choices before him. Trust this mysterious village girl completely, or watch his only beloved child die while he hesitated. Do it, he commanded. Save her. I will deal with consequences later. Nena moved with swift, practiced efficiency. She reached into the small leather pouch she always wore tied around her waist beneath her wrapper, the sacred pouch her late father had given her on his deathbed. Inside was dried celestial leaf, the most powerful antidote known to traditional herbalists, carefully preserved. She crushed the precious leaves between her palms, mixed the powder with clean water from her calabash that she still carried, and forced the bitter mixture down Adanna's throat, massaging to make her swallow. Everyone held their collective breath. The room was silent except for the clock ticking. 10 seconds passed. 20 seconds. 30 seconds that felt like hours. Then Adanna suddenly coughed violently. Color began returning slowly to her ashen cheeks like sunrise bringing light. Her eyes fluttered open, confused but alive. What? Nena? She whispered weakly, her small voice the most beautiful sound anyone had ever heard. Nena smiled through tears that ran freely down her face. Yes, small one. I am here. You are safe now. The room erupted in confused noise, some people expressing relief, others still suspicious and uncertain, everyone talking at once. Chief Okonkwo knelt heavily beside his daughter, holding her small hand in both of his large ones, his eyes wet with tears he did not bother hiding. You saved her again, he said hoarsely to Nena, his voice thick with emotion. Twice now you have pulled my daughter back from death's door when no one else could. But Emeka refused to surrender his attack. This proves absolutely nothing. She probably poisoned the pastries herself earlier when no one was watching carefully. This was all planned. Impossible, Chief Okonkwo said coldly, his voice like ice. Nena has been with Adanna upstairs all morning helping with homework. She never went near the kitchen or anywhere else. The servants can confirm this. He turned slowly toward Mrs. Judith, whose face had gone gray as ash. Sweat beaded on her forehead despite the air conditioning. Judith, he said quietly, dangerously. Who asked you to bring those specific pastries today? Mrs. Judith's hands trembled violently, making her expensive bracelets jingle. I made them myself, Chief. I swear on my life. Lies? Nena interrupted, standing tall, her voice ringing with certainty. Those pastries came from a street vendor on the market side. I can smell the distinctive palm oil he uses for frying. It has a particular scent. You bought them early this morning and added the poison yourself before coming here. Mrs. Judith stumbled backward as if physically struck. That is completely not true. You are making wild accusations. Chief Okonkwo's head of security stepped forward, a massive man trained in investigation. Sir, should I search her bag thoroughly? Do it immediately, Chief Okonkwo commanded. Inside Mrs. Judith's expensive designer handbag, buried beneath makeup and perfume, they found a small glass vial wrapped carefully in cloth. The faded label read in medical writing, Uziza concentrate, handle with extreme care. Poisonous. The silence that followed was absolute and damning. Mrs. Judith's legs gave way and she fell heavily to her knees, weeping hysterically. I am sorry. I am so sorry. Please forgive me. I never meant for anyone to die. Adiz paid me to do it. She said it was just to make the child sick for a few days, not to kill her. She promised me 2 million in cash. I needed the money desperately. Every eye in the room turned slowly toward Adiz, who looked like a trapped animal searching frantically for escape. Lies. Complete lies, she shrieked, her voice rising to panic. This woman is lying to save herself from punishment. I would never do such evil. But Chief Okonkwo's voice cut through her protests like a blade. Security guards. Hold both of these women firmly. We are going directly to the police station. Right now. As security men dragged the sobbing, protesting women toward the door, Emeka tried to slip quietly toward the exit, hoping to escape in the confusion. "And where exactly are you going, my dear brother?" Chief Okonkwo's voice stopped him cold, frozen mid-step. I had absolutely nothing to do with this terrible thing. Perhaps not directly. But your wife orchestrated attempted murder of my child. And you have been insulting and undermining my daughter's savior since the moment she arrived. You have shown your true character." Chief Okonkwo's face was stone. "You will leave my house tonight. Take your scheming family and go. You are no longer welcome here." Emeka opened his mouth to protest, saw his brother's implacable expression, and wisely stayed silent. He had lost this battle completely. When order was finally restored and the house grew quiet again, Chief Okonkwo turned to Nena with something like awe in his eyes. "I owe you more than money can ever repay. You have saved my daughter's life twice now. You have exposed dangerous traitors hiding within my own family. Tell me truthfully, who are you really? You are far more than a simple village girl." Nena looked at Adanna, now sleeping peacefully in her father's protective arms, her breathing steady and normal again. "I am just a village girl, chief, nothing more. But my father was Matsi Okafor, the legendary healer known across many regions. Before he died, he taught me everything he knew: herbs, bones, poisons, cures, the old ways that are being forgotten. He made me swear a sacred oath never to use the knowledge for evil, only for healing the innocent." Chief Okonkwo studied her with profound new respect. "Your father's name was legendary. Even here, far from your village, we heard stories of his wisdom and power." He hesitated, then spoke carefully, choosing words with deliberation. "Nena, my daughter keeps insisting you are her mother. Not just from gratitude but as if she truly believes it in her soul. She says spirits told her in dreams." Nena's heart clenched painfully. "Children have very strong imaginations, chief. They see connections where none exist." "Perhaps," he agreed slowly. "But children also sometimes see truths that we blind adults miss completely." He paused significantly. "Adanna was born 5 years ago. Her mother supposedly died in childbirth, or so I was told by my family. I never saw the body. I was traveling overseas for urgent business. My family handled all arrangements." Nena's breath caught in her throat. 5 years ago. The exact same time her own baby had supposedly died stillborn. "Chief, what exactly are you suggesting?" "I am suggesting nothing definite yet. But I am deeply curious." He called his personal assistant with a gesture. "Tomorrow morning, arrange for a DNA test. Nena and Adanna. Use the best laboratory. I want absolute certainty." Nena wanted desperately to refuse. She feared the crushing hope, feared the devastating disappointment that would surely follow. Hope was dangerous for people like her who had lost everything. But Adanna woke up just then, reached for Nena's hand with perfect trust, and whispered softly, "Mama, do not be afraid of the truth. The ancestors already told me everything. They do not lie." How could anyone refuse such faith? The next morning, a private doctor arrived discreetly. 2 quick swabs, one from inside Nena's cheek, one from Adanna's. The samples were carefully sealed and sent to the most expensive, most accurate laboratory in the entire country. Results would take exactly 3 days. 3 long days of waiting that felt like 3 years. 3 days of wondering and hoping and fearing. 3 days of Emeka's remaining relatives whispering poisonous rumors about that scheming village girl trying to claim the chief's wealth through elaborate lies and tricks. On the second night, Nena could not sleep despite her exhaustion. She walked restlessly in the mansion's beautiful garden under the silver moon, trying to calm her racing thoughts. She did not notice the dark shadow following her silently until it was far too late. A rough hand clamped brutally over her mouth, cutting off her scream. A sharp knife pressed against her throat hard enough to draw blood. She felt the blade's cold edge. "Do not scream, village rat," a rough voice hissed directly in her ear, breath hot and foul. "You have caused enough trouble for important people. Tonight you disappear permanently." There were 3 of them, hired thugs paid well by someone who desperately wanted her gone before the DNA results arrived and destroyed their plans forever. They dragged her struggling toward a waiting van hidden at the back gate, its engine already running for quick escape. But they had made one terrible, fatal mistake. Nena was not merely a healer. Her father had also taught her the ancient warrior ways: how to move like water, how to strike like lightning, how to survive against impossible odds. He had been the last living student of the legendary Shadowbinders, warriors who protected the innocent in ancient times. She suddenly went completely limp, making herself pure dead weight. The thug holding her stumbled, thrown off balance. In that single split second of confusion, she twisted free with eel-like speed, drove her elbow viciously into his stomach, then swept his legs out from under him. The second attacker lunged forward with his knife aimed at her heart, committed to the killing blow. She sidestepped smoothly like a dancer, caught his wrist mid-thrust with iron fingers, and twisted with terrible force until bones cracked audibly. He howled in agony and dropped his weapon, cradling his shattered arm. The third man, slightly smarter than his companions, turned and ran desperately into the darkness. Nena let him go. She did not chase. Instead, breathing hard but victorious, she dragged the two injured, groaning thugs back toward the main house where security lights suddenly blazed on like sunrise. The compound alarm began wailing, piercing the night. Armed guards rushed out from everywhere. Chief Okonkwo appeared moments later in his nightclothes, eyes wide with shock and fear. "What is happening? Nena, are you hurt?" Nena dropped the two groaning, defeated men at his feet like garbage. "Someone sent these criminals to kill me before the DNA results arrive, Chief. Perhaps you should ask who is most afraid of the truth being revealed." Chief Okonkwo's face transformed into stone, cold and merciless. He ordered the thugs taken immediately to the police for interrogation. Under professional questioning, facing serious charges, they confessed everything. Emeka had paid them substantial money. Even from outside the house where he had been banished, he was still scheming desperately, still trying to protect his stolen inheritance by eliminating the threat. Chief Okonkwo made one single phone call. By dawn's first light, Emeka was arrested by police at his home, still in his sleeping clothes. On the third day, the DNA results finally arrived in a sealed envelope. Chief Okonkwo gathered everyone important in the main sitting room. His elderly mother, his sisters, trusted elders from his home village, respected chiefs from neighboring communities, and Nena. The room was crowded and tense. Adanna sat calmly on Nena's lap, peaceful and certain, as if she already knew what the envelope contained. The doctor opened the sealed envelope with careful ceremony, read silently while everyone held their breath, then looked up with undisguised wonder shining in his professional eyes. "Chief Okonkwo," he announced clearly, "according to these laboratory results, Nena is indeed Adanna's biological mother. 99.9% certainty. There is absolutely no doubt possible." The room exploded with gasps, shouts, questions, exclamations. People jumped to their feet. Some wept. Others embraced. But Nena heard none of the chaos. She buried her face in Adanna's soft hair and wept, 5 years of accumulated grief and loss pouring out like a dam breaking. Her whole body shook with the force of it. "My baby. My precious baby girl. They told me you were dead. They told me I would never see your face, never hold you. They stole you from me." Adanna patted her mother's wet cheeks gently with small hands, wise beyond her years. "I told you, Mama. I told you the truth. The spirits do not lie to children." Chief Okonkwo knelt before them both, his own voice shaking with emotion he could not control. "Nena, I do not understand how this terrible thing happened. But I swear on my ancestors' graves, I will find out exactly who stole our daughter and lied to us both. Justice will be done." Nena looked up through her tears, her face transformed by joy and pain mixed together. "It does not matter now, Chief. What matters is she is alive and breathing. She is here in my arms. She is ours. The past cannot be changed." Chief Okonkwo's mother, a dignified elder woman respected throughout the region, rose slowly to her feet and bowed deeply to Nena, a gesture of profound respect rarely given. "My daughter," the old woman said with genuine reverence, "please forgive this family for how we treated you when you first arrived. We judged you by external appearance and completely missed the truth standing before us. You are Adanna's true mother. You are worthy of all honor." One by one, like a wave moving through the room, the relatives who had mocked and insulted Nena came forward and apologized with shame evident on their faces. Even those who had doubted her now looked deeply ashamed. But Nena's mind had moved beyond forgiveness to burning questions. Who had stolen her baby 5 years ago? Who had told her the child was dead? Who had committed such monstrous evil? Chief Okonkwo was already pursuing answers with the relentless focus of a hunter. He summoned the doctor who had delivered Adanna, the nurses who had been present, everyone who had handled the birth 5 years ago. Under intense pressure and threats of legal consequences, the truth began spilling out like poison from a lanced wound. The doctor confessed with trembling voice, "A woman paid me, Chief. She said she was your sister. She gave me 2 million in cash to take the newborn baby and tell the mother the child had died during birth." "What woman? Describe her to me now." "Tall, light-skinned, very elegant and well-dressed. She wore expensive perfume. She said her name was Mrs. Judith. The same Mrs. Judith who had tried to poison Adanna with contaminated pastries. The same woman now sitting in police custody awaiting trial." Chief Okonkwo's eyes blazed with terrible fury that made everyone step back. "Take me to her immediately. Right now." At the police station, Mrs. Judith crumbled completely under his cold interrogation, her earlier defiance gone. "I did it all for Adiz," she sobbed, makeup running down her face. "She was obsessed with you, Chief. She wanted to marry you desperately herself, but you had gotten some village girl pregnant. So Adiz paid me enormous money to get rid of the baby and make the mother disappear. Where was I during all this?" Chief Okonkwo's voice was dangerously quiet. "You were overseas for business in another country. Adiz told you the mother died in childbirth along with the baby. You never questioned it because you were young and grieving and trusted your family." Chief Okonkwo remembered with painful clarity. 5 years ago he had been young and foolish. He had spent one passionate night with a beautiful village girl at a traditional festival. He had not even learned her full name before his urgent business trip overseas. When he returned weeks later and was told both mother and child had died, he had mourned privately and moved forward with his life, never imagining such calculated evil within his own family. "And what happened to the baby?" he asked with deadly calm. Mrs. Judith twisted her hands nervously. "I gave her to a distant orphanage initially, but Adiz panicked. She worried someone might eventually trace the child back to you. So she took the baby herself and raised her secretly, planning to use her someday to manipulate you and claim credit for saving your bloodline. But Adanna grew up calling me Papa. I believed I had adopted her legally after my supposed wife died." Mrs. Judith nodded miserably. "Adiz forged all the documents expertly. She made everything look completely legitimate. She kept the terrible truth even from you, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal it and appear as your family's savior." The plot was staggering in its calculated cruelty and patience. Chief Okonkwo stood, his decision made. "You will answer for these crimes in court. And so will Adiz and Emeka. All of you will face justice." He returned home to find Nena singing softly to Adanna, an old traditional lullaby that mothers had sung for generations. The sound filled him with unexpected peace. "Nena," he said gently, sitting across from them, "I know everything now. I know what they did to you, to our daughter, to our lives. I am deeply ashamed I did not search harder for the truth 5 years ago." Nena looked up, her eyes sad but strangely clear and peaceful. "You did not know, Chief. The evil was hidden very well by people you trusted. But now the ancestors have brought us back together through Adanna. That is what truly matters." Chief Okonkwo studied her thoughtfully. "There is still one question that troubles me. How did you become such a fearsome fighter? That knowledge is not common even among herbalists." Nena smiled faintly, remembering her father's teachings. "My father was more than just a healer, Chief. He was also the last living student of the ancient warrior guild, the Shadowbinders. They were protectors of our people in old times, trained equally in both combat and medicine. Before he died, he passed all his precious knowledge to me and made me swear a sacred oath. Use these skills only to protect innocent people, never for personal gain or revenge." Chief Okonkwo's eyes widened with genuine awe. "The Shadowbinders are legends from old stories. I thought they were myths created to teach children courage. Most people believe that. That is precisely why we stayed hidden. But the knowledge remains, passed carefully from teacher to student." Adanna looked up proudly at her mother. "My mama is both a warrior and a healer. No one anywhere is stronger or wiser." Chief Okonkwo laughed, a real joyful sound that had been absent from his life for too long. "Your mama is indeed full of surprises that never end." That evening, Chief Okonkwo gathered the village elders for a formal traditional meeting, following the proper customs. "I wish to marry Nena properly and correctly," he announced with formal dignity. "Not out of obligation or duty, but because she is Adanna's true mother, because she is brave and wise beyond measure, and because my heart tells me clearly she is the life partner I have been searching for." The elders nodded their approval seriously. This was right and proper according to tradition and common sense. But Nena raised her hand respectfully, asking permission to speak. "Chief, you honor me greatly. But marriage is not something to rush into hastily. You barely know me truly. I barely know you beyond these dramatic circumstances. Let us take proper time. Let us see if our hearts truly align naturally, or if we only feel bonded through our shared daughter." Her unexpected honesty startled everyone present. Most women would have immediately jumped at the chance to marry the wealthiest, most powerful man in the entire region. Chief Okonkwo studied her carefully, then nodded with growing respect. "You are wise beyond your years, Nena. We will take appropriate time as you suggest. But know this truth, I already see in you everything I value most: courage, integrity, wisdom, and deep love for our child. Time will only deepen my respect and affection." And so began a season of proper old-fashioned courtship conducted with intention and patience. Chief Okonkwo took Nena to see his various businesses, introduced her to his complex world of commerce and power. She taught him about healing herbs, simple village life, and the old traditional ways he had forgotten in his pursuit of modern wealth. Slowly, carefully, like craftsmen building something meant to last generations, they built something genuine and real between them. Meanwhile, justice moved forward with appropriate speed. Adiz, Emeka, and Mrs. Judith faced public trial. The evidence against them was overwhelming and undeniable. They were sentenced to long prison terms that satisfied the community's demand for justice. But there remained one final piece of important business to complete. On a clear Saturday morning, Nena stood in the village square of her home, the place where she had grown up. Chief Okonkwo stood beside her as an equal partner. A large crowd had gathered, villagers, respected elders, chiefs from neighboring regions, all come to witness traditional justice. At the center of the square knelt Adiz, brought from prison specifically for this ancient ceremony of judgment. An elder spoke with grave authority. "Adiz, you have committed terrible evil against this community. You stole a child from her mother's arms. You poisoned an innocent child. You brought profound shame upon your family name. What do you say in your defense?" Adiz wept bitterly, all her earlier pride gone. "I confess everything. I was consumed by jealousy and greed. I was wicked beyond measure. I deserved death for my crimes." The crowd murmured among themselves. Some voices called loudly for harsh traditional punishment. But Nena stepped forward calmly, commanding immediate attention and respect. "Adiz," Nena said clearly so all could hear, "you destroyed 5 years of my life. You made me believe my child was dead and buried. You tried to kill her when she lived. I have every right under our laws to demand your blood as payment." Adiz trembled violently, waiting for the fatal blow, accepting her deserved fate. "But I will not kill you," Nena continued. Gasps of surprise rippled through the assembled crowd like wind through grass. Nena's voice remained strong and clear. "My father taught me that revenge is a poison that ultimately kills the one who drinks it. You will live, Adiz. But you will face justice the old way according to our traditions." She turned to address the Council of Elders directly. "I request the following judgment. Adiz must return all land and property she gained through her deceit. She must publicly confess her crimes in every village square within 3 regions so all know her evil. And she must live in exile from this community for 10 full years, unable to use the family name that she dishonored." The elders conferred together seriously, then nodded their collective agreement. "This is fair. This is just. This is wise. Let it be done exactly as spoken." Adiz was led away, broken but alive, to begin her long punishment. The crowd buzzed with approval. Nena had demonstrated both strength and mercy, the true mark of wisdom that would be remembered and retold. Chief Okonkwo took her hand proudly. "You are truly remarkable, Nena. I am simply my father's daughter, nothing more." That same afternoon, Chief Okonkwo fulfilled his original promise. He built not just a simple school but a complete education center in Nena's village. Proper classrooms with roofs, a library filled with books, a computer laboratory and comfortable housing for teachers. At the grand opening ceremony, children sang joyfully and danced traditional steps. Elders blessed the building with prayers and libations. Nena cut the ceremonial ribbon with tears streaming down her face. "This is my father's legacy continuing," she said to the gathered crowd. "He healed broken bodies. Now his memory will heal ignorant minds and create opportunities." Chief Okonkwo stood beside her, Adanna held safely between them, completing their circle. "And what about us?" he asked softly for her ears alone. "Have you decided about marriage?" Nena looked at him carefully, really looked, seeing not wealth or power but the man himself. She saw someone who had grown, who had listened and learned, who had proven himself patient and genuinely true through testing. "Ask me properly," she said with a small, knowing smile. Chief Okonkwo knelt right there, in front of the entire assembled village in the dust and heat. "Nena, daughter of the legendary Matsi Okafor, healer and warrior, mother of my beloved child, will you marry me? Not because of duty or obligation or convenience, but because I have come to love you truly and completely. Because I want to spend my remaining life learning from you, building with you, growing old beside you." The crowd held its collective breath, waiting. Nena felt her father's presence like a warm, approving breeze. She felt the ancestors nodding their blessing. She looked at Adanna's hopeful, shining face. "Yes, Chief. I will marry you." The village erupted in pure celebration. Drums pounded their ancient rhythms. Women ululated their joy. Children danced wildly. It was a moment that would be remembered for generations. But Nena raised both hands, asking for silence one final time. "I will marry you on one sacred condition. We must do it the proper traditional way. With elders present, with all ceremonies completed correctly, with deep respect for both our families and customs. Not quickly or carelessly, but correctly and honorably." Chief Okonkwo grinned broadly, his heart full. "I would expect nothing less from you, my wise one." And so preparations began for a wedding that would blend modern wealth with ancient village tradition, creating something new and beautiful. 2 months later, on a perfect bright Saturday, the ceremony took place. Nena wore traditional bridal attire, coral beads that clicked softly, rich wrapper cloth dyed deep colors, an elegant head tie wrapped with precision. Chief Okonkwo wore full chieftaincy regalia that announced his status. Adanna scattered flower petals along their path and giggled with pure happiness. The wedding lasted 3 full days, exactly as proper tradition demanded. Each day brought new ceremonies, new blessings from elders, new celebrations that joined 2 families and 2 worlds. On the final day, the eldest elder, a man of 90 years whose wisdom was respected across the entire region, stood to give the closing blessing. His voice, surprisingly strong, carried to every listening ear. "My children," he said solemnly, "this marriage teaches us something profoundly important. It reminds us that truth may be delayed by lies, but truth cannot be destroyed by evil." 5 years these two were separated by wicked schemes. But the ancestors kept their sacred bond alive through their daughter. Now justice has restored what evil tried to steal forever. He turned to Nena specifically, his old eyes sharp. Young woman, you have shown us that true strength is not just in fighting and defeating enemies, but in choosing mercy when you possess the power to destroy. You defeated armed men, exposed poison plots, survived assassination attempts. But your greatest victory was choosing forgiveness over revenge when revenge was your legal right. Then he turned to Chief Okonkwo. And you, Chief, have learned that wealth cannot buy wisdom and power cannot replace truth. You have learned to listen humbly, to wait patiently, to respect knowledge that comes from unexpected places and humble people. He raised both weathered hands in final blessing. May your marriage be strong like the Irako tree that stands for centuries. May your children multiply like stars filling the sky. May your home be a place where truth and justice dwell forever. The crowd responded with one voice, "Iz." So be it. Years passed like seasons changing. The story of Nena and Chief Okonkwo became legendary, told and retold in markets, at festivals, and family gatherings across many regions. The school in the village flourished beyond all expectations. Children who once learned under trees now graduated to universities and returned to serve their people. Adanna grew strong and wise like her mother, eventually studying medicine to continue the healing legacy for another generation. Chief Okonkwo and Nena had 3 more children together, 2 boys and a girl, each taught both modern knowledge and ancient wisdom, prepared for whatever future awaited them. But perhaps the greatest legacy was the proverb that emerged from their story, repeated across the land whenever someone faced injustice or delay. When truth delays, it returns with witnesses. It meant that lies might rule for a season, appearing to win. But truth is patient. Truth gathers evidence silently. Truth waits for the perfect moment. And when truth finally arrives, it brings undeniable proof that silences all doubt and establishes justice. This is what happened with Nena. The truth of her motherhood was delayed 5 painful years, but when it returned, it brought DNA evidence, confessions, witnesses, and complete justice. So remember well, my children, stay true to your path always. Do what is right even when others mock you cruelly. Protect the innocent even when it costs you everything. Be patient with truth even when lies seem to be winning. Because in the end, as Nena proved beyond all doubt, truth always returns. And it returns with witnesses. The end.